We begin with B'Elanna in an unknown room with unknown voices, strapped to a machine called the Genotron, which is perhaps the laziest naming I've ever heard in an episode of Star Trek. Cut to Voyager. Janeway says they're off to fetch Paris, B'Elanna, and an unnamed guy called Durst from the last episode, so now he's officially got a name, I'm sure he'll become a well-loved and valuable member of the permanent cast. After some hilarious interplay with Neelix that's still every bit as entertaining as it was on the first episode, Tuvok is called to the bridge. The away team aren't where they should be, and they aren't picking up the phone either. Could be because the caves they're exploring seem to be moving of their own accord. Oh, and those caves are preventing teleportation. Chakotay wants to go down and look for them, but this time with some science stickers that'll make the teleporters work if they make a chain of them, so off he, Kim, and Tuvok go. Down on the planet, we discover who's holding B'Elanna. It's one of Jimmy Lungthief's mates, Johnny Gene Fiddler. He says she's very important to them, and oh, by the way, she's full Klingon now, thanks to the Super Genotron 5000 XL. Johnny Gene Fiddler thinks Klingons might be resilient to space plague, so, to test this, he's infected her. She responds to this as well as you might expect. Meanwhile, Paris and an unnamed guy called Durst are being held by Johnny Gene Fiddler's mates. They meet a member of Neelix's race who is, amazingly, even more annoying than him, which is impressive in a way, and he explains that the Plague Lads haven't killed everyone because they're physically weak and need people to dig their tunnels for them. Oh, and if B'Elanna's not there, it's probably because they're harvesting her delicious organ crop. Elsewhere in the caves, the rescue team is exploring, placing stickers as they go. Tuvok finds a broken scanner with traces of 5 separate entities on it, proving, he says, that the away team was not alone, and, on a tangent here, if the Plague Lads are surviving by nicking body parts from countless others, wouldn't there have been a lot more traces? Anyway, B'Elanna's a bit worse for wear. Johnny Gene Fiddler says it's amazing that her body is fighting the space plague off though, so that's good I guess. In the holding cells, Paris decides to have a relaxing nap while his companion is being tortured, because Tom Paris is a dick. One of the Plague Lads brings in a mystery Starfleet crew member and oh my gorb, it's human B'Elanna. Looks like the Ultra Genotron Deluxe made 2 versions rather than just purging the human DNA from Klingon B'Elanna. Here we see some backstory for B'Elanna and how she feels about her Klingon ancestry. For all of her conflicted emotion towards it, she feels less for its absence, and, when we're talking about it, refers to the Klingon capital as the home world, which may just be a learned cultural habit, but may also indicate something more. It's satisfying to watch a character work through a complicated and difficult aspect of their personality, and I'm glad to see it's being expanded to more members of the crew after focusing so far on the Doctor and, to a lesser extent, Kes. Perhaps now that we're seeing races and situations that aren't new to the viewer, the writers feel they don't need to spend as much time establishing the groundwork, freeing up space to do something more interesting than introduce new alien species number 612. But again, I digress. The rescue team are still exploring the cave. They come across a wall that shouldn't be there according to earlier scans, and Tuvok suggests it might be a hidden force field. You know, like the one we saw when we first met the Plague Lads. Yellow poop disrupted that last time, so Chakotay squeezes some out, but it doesn't work. Then they spot some Plague Lads and emergency Scarpa. Back in the lab, B'Elanna's having a fiddle with the restraints and, oh, hello. Johnny Gene Fiddler interrupts her though, so she keeps quiet about it. She's feeling much better and tries to sweet-talk Johnny into letting her out in exchange for alien sexy times, but he's not buying it. Over in the cells, the Plague Lads grab hold of an unnamed guy called Durst and say they're taking him to see their boss to discuss contacting Voyager, and then maybe take him to get some ice cream. We're not going to steal your organs, though. As he's taken away, we see human B'Elanna cowering in fear, which feels a bit heavy-handed and overplayed, but I see what you're aiming for, so I'll allow it. In the lab again, Johnny Gene Fiddler has a surprise for B'Elanna to help their budding romance. He's wearing unnamed guy called Durst's face! Isn't that sweet? She breaks free, presumably overcome by passion, and starts throttling the shit out of him. They're interrupted and she scarpers. Up on Voyager, the senior staff that aren't being held captive or turned into masks are looking at ways of breaking the shield. Kim says it occasionally has tiny holes in it, maybe big enough to teleport through. They'd be on their own though, because you can only put a single person through or the teleporter beam gets too fat or something. Don't think about it too hard, we need it for the sense of drama. As to whoever goes being found and captured, well, Chakotay has a plan for that. Cosplay! Down in the mines, human B'Elanna's struggling with the physical labour, because apparently an advanced spacefaring race doesn't have methods of making this easier, and thus removing the need to constantly replenish their stock of slaves, but let's not overthink it. After some bonding with Paris, a Plague Lad shows up and takes her back to the cells. While Voyager teleports Cosplay Chakotay through the shield, Klingon B'Elanna is hunting for Paris. More annoying than Neelix tells her that Paris is in another cave, and mentions human B'Elanna too. Human B'Elanna's busy though. After waiting for the guards to bugger off, she starts fiddling with the tech to try and contact Voyager, but is caught. It's fine though, because Klingon B'Elanna kicks the absolute shit out of them. There's some symbolism of Klingon B'Elanna offering help, then a bit of sizing each other up, which, knowing the internet, probably led to its own subcategory of Star Trek shipping fanfic, before Human B'Elanna faints and is carried away. Later, Klingon B'Elanna offers Human B'Elanna some rat on a stick. Then she has an argument with herself about relative character traits and how being in harmony is the answer. The whole exchange is a bit too on the nose for me, but it's better than nothing. Anyway, Human B'Elanna reckons she can get the shield shut off with a little more time, and Klingon B'Elanna suggests the lab because it's the last place the Plague Boys would expect them to go. Back in the cells, Cosplay Chakotay says hi to Paris. When interrupted by a real Plague lad, Cosplay Chakotay makes a crack about being a new face around here, which feels a bit insensitive given what just happened to a third of the away team, then he and Paris scarper. Meanwhile, the B'Elanna sisters are in the lab screwing with the computer. An alarm goes off and Klingon B'Elanna poops blue on a guard that shows up, but loses her scanner gun scalpel in the process. Johnny Gene Fiddler shows up and threatens to kill Human B'Elanna if they don't surrender, then Cosplay Chakotay overrules him. We're ready to scarper, but Johnny Gene Fiddler tries to poop blue on Cosplay Chakotay with a mini scanner gun scalpel he had hidden somewhere apparently. Klingon B'Elanna jumps in the way and is hit, really upsetting Johnny Gene Fiddler, who probably just realised this means the wedding's off. After teleporting aboard Voyager, Klingon B'Elanna is in a bad way. She compliments Human B'Elanna, then carks it. Later, the Doc tells Human B'Elanna that he has to pump Klingon back into her because her body is super weak without it. Then there's some chat about, despite the internal conflict, she welcomes this, as she currently feels incomplete. Again, this feels a bit heavy-handed, but it's still welcome. Everyone leaves B'Elanna to do some crying while we fly away. End of episode.